This is the Lydia and Spin, episode number 251 with Lydia Lunch in Asheville, North Carolina, at Fleetwood, staying at the lovely Mary's house, who books and runs the place. And Tim Dahl is outside of Helsinki,
Yes, I am.
doing
Yes, I
whatever he
am.
does, doing whatever he does when he's got a day off.
It's technically my birthday right now, Lydia.
Oh, that's
So
right. Happy birthday.
I'm
Mine's in a mere month. That's true.
yeah, that's what's going on. And they're also in this weird holiday. It's a national holiday, and
Yeah,
so
it's Labor
there's
Day. Yeah.
it's their Labor Day. They're getting wasted all the time, and
Well, every day is Labor Day for us. So, but in that, I'm going to have a little sip to all the laborers of
well,
the
sippity
world.
doo dah.
It's
Let's
your
do it.
birthday. Happy birthday, Tim. I wish I was with you.
Well, I wish we'll be together soon. Yes.
You
So,
were complaining yesterday about all the disturbances that we're having on the internet, and then I just read an article about Google today
right.
being out in about 8 different countries for a couple of hours. Now, there's a few things going on besides Russian interference. There were four solar flares, usually maybe one or two at the same time. So, I mean, there's just everything's going wackadoodle right now. Can't tell
Well,
what it is.
I'm basically 100 miles from the Russian border right here. I've been to Finland a bunch of times, but never sustained amounts of times, and I'm going to be around here for a while. It is New England, not in terms of culture, but to the max. It's New Hampshire, it's New London, Connecticut. The way this shit just feels, cleanest air, but oh boy, like full on cyber obstruction since I've been here. But whatever, I'm not gonna cry about it.
No, but look,
And
you're trying to get work done as we are, and especially since we're trying to buck up on our podcast because we're all both of us all over the place for the next amount of time and three different time zones, et cetera, et cetera. So
yes, indefinitely. So Robbie Mucus, is that the person's name?
wait, excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Friend of yours or
no, 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 no. This is a progressive LGBTQJA plus um, hiker explorer from New York who goes into the wild regions of Alaska. Fell off 1,000 foot cliff.
yeah,
Yes, yesterday. I'll say this. You're
do
from New York.
say.
My dad was from Chicago, and he took my brother and I into Alaska, into the wild north of Canada. And I'm lucky I got
We've heard the grisly stories.
I'm lucky I got alive. I appreciate urban types wanting to explore this shit, but respect this shit because that might not end very well. Falling
That's a
off a
big drop, and probably what, taking a selfie or just being stupid.
Well, the thing is, when you're falling off heights like that, the analysis is just like people who jumped off of the World Trade Center when the shit was on fire because they jumping off was better than burning to death. Um, Once you hit maximum velocity, you have a heart attack. You actually die before you even have impact. At the same time, whatever reason the algorithms are with my social media, they keep on showing me animals massacring each other, and one of them is a Himalayan snow leopard
Oh yes.
going against a mountain goat and basically pouncing on it. So for anyone that doesn't know this, probably a lot do know, the highest vertical leap of any mammal is an Himalayan snow leopard. From a sit still, they can jump 50 feet vertically.
Wow.
50 fucking feet.
I'm finding it hard to get out of the lowrider car I'm driving with JT around it. So go ahead, tell me all about it.
It's not just that they can jump 50 feet. It's how they use that, and it's usually on birds of prey or
Nice.
birds,
Wow.
just birds, and it's not because they're flying. They sit there, huddled in their cat, kind of
Like,
cuddles
right.
them, and they wait for the incline of a bird because that's their blind spot. So when they're going up, they match the acceleration of a vertical bird takeoff, and they take them down on the incline, on the
Right.
incline because that's their blind spot, and they fucking just rip them to
All right.
shreds.
Well,
And
amazing.
by the way, a Himalaya snow leopard, their tail is longer than their body, and that's like basically
Helps
the
propel them.
well, it's basically like the shaft that tightrope walkers use to balance it. It's
All
a
right. It's a
balancing.
balancing rod.
Yeah,
All right. Well, an animal of a different kind. All
sure.
right. Now, look, we travel a lot, but we rarely take the bus, fortunately. A
Yeah,
man was reportedly found eating another man's face, killing
good,
him in the process in Las
good.
Vegas this weekend. Police were called out to a fight at a bus stop early on Sunday morning, with one caller reportedly telling the dispatcher that the suspect was eating the victim's face. All right, so arrest documents seen by the Las Vegas thing. The suspect had biological matter in his hair, mouth, and on his clothing. Now, this fight went on for like 45 minutes. The guy's name is Colin Sheck, who is unhoused. He was arrested later and booked into jail for murder and reportedly telling officers that something was possessing him and keeping him up for 5 days straight. Now, the victim who died from his injuries has not been officially identified. What can I say? People are hungry out there. They're asking for any information to
Well,
call the
Lydia,
homicide section.
was it consensual? And that's a reasonable
It
question.
certainly was not
Well,
consensual.
I mean, Japanese and German pervert
This was an
cannibalism
innocent guy
sometimes
at a
can
bus
be
stop.
consensual.
Innocent guy at a bus stop. You can't even paint it with that ink. Thank you. No, absolutely freaking not. Anyway,
All right.
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying, it's just some things that when I read that story, I was remembering when we pulled up to Churchill's in Miami once, one of the last shows we did there, and across the street at a bus stop was a unhomed man taking his pants completely off, taking a shit, putting them back on, and getting on the bus. But welcome to Miami, asshole, where anything is
no,
possible.
we witnessed that collectively, and
It was a horrifying sight.
all right, hold on. I got more stories here.
You know what? I ain't got long for too many of them, so you better wrap it up. I don't know how you're going to top the snow leopard and the face-eating monster from Las Vegas, but go ahead.
Well, I'll say this because it's going to be Alex Marcelo on this episode, right?
Right, which, by the way, a long-term friend of yours, who you
Well,
even went to attended university school with, and
yeah,
you couldn't get on for half an hour because of the Russian interference.
I was so fucking frustrated with that intro because I couldn't get on. I did everything. It was so frustrating, but you guys held your own, and
We had a great time. He's a great guy.
Alex Marcello is a
Goes by Alexi now.
well, he goes by Alexis, and he's one of my old friends, so I call him Alex, but it's fine. This guy's a master of his domain, a very special musician, and also a very close friend. And we've been through shit together and heavy shit together, and I love
Well,
him dearly.
I did love the story about you reminding them about him pumping gas at a gas station while smoking a lit cigarette. But that's coming up on this podcast, episode number 251 of the Lydia and Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and Alex Marcelo, an amazing musician, teacher, human being. That's what we
That's
got
it.
for you. Goodbye. All right.
Where's Tim at?
Well, I don't know. Europe somewhere.
Oh, he's in
I
Europe.
don't know if
That's right.
he might not know
Oh,
where
he's
he
in.
is. His phone was out of whack for like 2 days as well.
Timmy! Timmy!
Ever since he's gotten to Finland, his telecommunications have failed, according to
Well,
him.
it's to me, it's the Russian interference.
I
46.
have either electronically or the vodka.
Well, they said 46,000 planes had been interrupted since last August with GPS maneuvering from Russia.
I believe that shit.
Yeah, me too.
We're in war already, you know? It's already starting this shit.
Excuse me, when did it ever stop?
That's true. That's true, Lydia. Yes, stand corrected. You're right.
The war is never over. That's my motto forever.
You are correct.
People think this shit is hard now. I'm like, what about the 1300s, 1500s, 1700s?
Oh, for sure.
1920s, 40s. It's all the
this
same.
ain't even shit compared to the 80s. Never mind the 1300s.
That's what I'm saying.
The 80s was heavyweight, man. Shit. I was a kid.
Me too. But I knew what war was because it was happening right outside my front door.
I hear that.
Yep. Yeah, the riots of the late 60s. And I'll tell you what side of the fence I was on, the one that was burning my father's car. Thank you very much. Dad, you dick. All right, I'm going to start this podcast. You're recording, right, Simon?
We are recording.
We already are having some good conversation. So I'm just going to jump in here and say, this is the Lydia and Spin with Lydia Lunch. Simon Slater is on the mic. Alexi Marcelo, who's an amazing pianist, musician, chuckle fucker of the highest order. There he goes. I didn't have to say much to get that going. I wish I was there. If I was tickling you, you'd really know what laughter was all about.
All right.
I got to ask you, are you ticklish?
I am, and I hate being tickled.
Of course you do. That's why I would love to do it to you just one time to turn you around. You know, I'm not ticklish at all because as a child, my father tickled me till I screamed. Now I just tickle other people till they scream. Oh my God, I'm a monster. So you're up in the Bronx now. You just came from a gig. What were you doing?
I was doing a little something called Weed Bop. It's for kids at a library in the Bronx. It's a little once a week, just 8 Mondays. Nice, light, little fun thing for the toddlers.
And do they bring in instruments? And is it like a freestyle for youngsters, or what goes on in those classes? It's so important for kids to have classes in music and art.
It's true. That is true. No, we just do basically straight ahead jazz. When we talk about the different concepts, they talk about today was call and response. Another day was syncopation. Another day it was the harmony or melody or something like that, you know, and it switches something every week.
How old are these kids?
Up to the age of, I believe, 7 or something like that.
You're trying to impart some kind of knowledge that most adults don't have in them. I think I better come to that library.
Well, the parents are taught as well. Yeah, in this program, I've noticed that. Yeah, the parents are taught as well. Especially here, there's a lot of people from other countries and stuff like that.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm not a musician. I just use it as a battering ram against other people myself. But
awesome. I think you qualify as a musician. There's other musicians that do the same thing.
Yeah, most of those kind I don't listen to. But did I see you recently playing with Tim at Mama Tried?
Yep.
That was a good gig.
That was a great gig. Yeah, I love playing with Tim. You know, I've been playing with Tim for a long time. We're old UMass chums, you know, from UMass, class of 2000, 2001, around there, something like that. I think.
And that was with Tim Dahl, Matt Nelson, and Richard Edson, right?
I don't remember Matt Nelson being there.
Oh, he wasn't. Was Richard Edson there?
I don't remember Richard either. It was David Earl. It was me, Tim, David Earl. And my friend Sean Kelly was there for a while.
Okay.
Another violin named Sean McPherson, another guy named Jerry Pierce.
Okay.
Through a crew.
Oh, you mean at UMass, not Mama Tried?
At Mama Tried was Matt Nelson. Yes.
But I was going to say, I was like, wow, that was like a big UMass reunion at Mama Tried.
No. I misunderstood.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's easy to get confused. When you're in the Bronx, I'm in Knoxville, Simon's in Brooklyn, Tim is somewhere in outer space. We're waiting for him to come back down to earth, you know, and but it's what we do. Yeah, that was a great gig. I enjoyed that a lot. That was cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I've been gigging a lot lately. It's been crazy.
It's good.
Trying to stay above the water, yeah.
So you got the Monday nights with the kids and their parents. And then you do a lot of other stuff. So how many
I
troops are
do.
you with right now? I mean, do you do a lot of solo stuff? Are you gigging a lot with other doing some improv? Where are you going right now with what you do?
Well, I've been doing a lot of solo stuff. Yes. Gearing up. I'm trying to gear up to a record that's gonna be out, hopefully. I have some due diligence to doing that record tip, which is driving me nuts because I keep gigging, not able to do the due diligence. It's sort of driving me a little crazy, but I'm gonna get there. But this weekend I played with Craig Harris and David Murray and Don Byron and Jerome Jennings. It was a Sam Rivers tribute up at Wesleyan.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I did before that. I did a little birthday party for James Ilgenfritz, who has this cool thing called Infrequent Seams, which I have a record coming out on with J.D. Parent and Daniel Carter on Infrequent Seams.
So what's your record that's coming out? Who's on that, and when are you going to be able to put that?
Mostly solo. It's
nice.
Mostly solo. It's mostly
Piano?
solo. Original compositions. If there's covers of stuff you've never heard before.
That's good.
And
my originals people have never heard before, so that I understand.
And even if it is a cover, I am about transforming songs into my own.
Of course.
I'm not just trying to play the same old thing. Even though I love the same old thing, if I'm going to record something, I have to make it my own.
What we as a kid before school and all that. I mean, when did you first decide? Okay, I am a magician going to be a musician. What age were you? 4, 5, 10?
I was no. So that story is my mother forced me from when I was 7 at a school called Harlem School of the Arts. I'm a first generation American. My mother's from Panama.
Okay.
And music was a big love of hers, and she wanted me to. But the thing was, I was good. I hate to say this, I was fucking good from jump. I had a knack for it, And but it was all classical. So it was just like a chore. I just wanted to go outside and play baseball and tag or whatever, ride a bike,
And,
so
and
I sort of hated it, but it was my one good boy thing to do. I was a good kid though. I wasn't a bad kid. But I didn't get the spark.
How bad are you as an adult is what I need to know.
It's all 95 South, baby.
Wherever that road leads, I'm heading in your direction as soon as we get off this. I'm just saying. Was the first instrument keyboard, piano? What was the first thing you took to?
It was piano. It's always been piano. My spark got lit by hip hop and jazz.
Yeah.
I'm a hip hop kid. I grew up with hip hop as a kid. I grew up in New York. I was born in '77. Right, the hip hop was made.
I was already on stage in '77. You newbie. I'm old enough to be your future ex-lover. You know it. I'm sorry. I'm flirtatious.
It's all
today.
good. It's all good. But yeah, and then I got into jazz, and jazz had the harmonies that the hip hop songs had, and that's really what piqued my interest and got me into it. And also, because I was into hip hop in the era that I was in, was like early '90s. New York hip hop especially was really like it was different.
Yeah. Like who?
They had edge. They were sampling different shit. So it just piqued all my free jazz interest. All the straight ahead, everything. It just lit when I got into jazz. Yeah.
What hip hop were you into? What first really turned you on? Because I'm very much into.
The first was probably like Biz Markie.
Right. Great.
Yeah. First by Biz Markie. Then shortly after the whole Juice Crew. Big Daddy Kane.
Yep.
And then that got into like EPMD. And
there was a lot of good stuff then. Yeah, there was so much good stuff then. What happened?
It was all from my hometown too.
Yeah.
It was like cats that looked like they were from my neighborhood and stuff.
And some of them were.
And some of them were exactly. Yeah, I grew up in the Bronx and Queens. In the Bronx, there probably was some guys, but not DJ Scott LaRock was from Kingsbridge. I lived there for a while. But these guys were all around. Kid Capri used to be around. Remember that? I remember seeing DJ Red Alert in the street a few times, but then I moved to Queens, and when I went to high school, when I got into music, and the hip hop of that time was like Wu-Tang.
I love Wu-Tang. I love Wu-Tang. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Wu-Tang too, man. You know, Wu-Tang Forever. Yeah, you know, those
Cream,
guys were sampling all kind of crazy shit.
exactly. Cream moves everything around here. It's the money dollar bill, y'all. I love the Wu-Tang. And also that period in the early 90s is when hip hop and jazz started to come together, especially like I think those albums Red, White, and Blue. Do you remember those records that were like I think there were benefits for AIDS foundations, and that was a
I
cross
remember that.
between,
Yeah.
those were some good
That's right.
things. Yeah,
It was.
Guru too. Yeah,
Guru, yeah, he did Jazzmatazz. But you know,
Jazzmatazz.
those guys was I mean, they were sampling all. I mean, you know, Tribe Called Quest. I gotta put Tribe Called Quest out here. You know, those guys were sampling. They had Ron Carter doing an album.
Yeah.
For the and they were sampling all kind of shit. You know, that even now I'm actually getting into the jazz versions of these tunes now. The original version, I'm like, man, this shit was bad. 'Cause I feel like they were sampling like a lot of guys from the '70s when like jazz became not the popular music anymore. But there was these still killing musicians that are really great musicians, but they don't get the notoriety that I think they should. And so I've been into those guys recently, man. It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. You know, Lonnie's Liston Smith and stuff like that, and Grover Washington, and
then you were blessed with being at the school, same as Tim, under Yusef Lateef. How good does that get? Oh my!
Oh man, that was great. That was great. You know, it was great because Tim, as you already know, is all about the outer reaches of everything.
Yeah. He's in the outer reaches now. He can't even get onto the podcast. He is the outer reach. He's in the outer limits, maybe even the Twilight Zone. I don't know where he is. He looks like a ghost.
You know, it was great, man. Me, Tim, and Yusef Lateef was pretty awesome.
Oh, I'm sure.
And you know, the beautiful thing about it was Yusef was all for it. You know, like Yusef wasn't the guy that wasn't like, don't come in here with that kind of stuff and none of that bullshit.
He's like, bring it. Right.
Yeah, bring it. Bring yourself. Bring your original self. You know, it was all good.
I really liked when he was doing that jazz Sahara kind of stuff, like Eastern influence in it too. It was really, really great stuff. Cool. That was really.
So he
awesome
got that
stuff.
from Detroit. He got. Oh, I'm sorry. There's an argument out here.
Oh shit.
And a girl just yelled at a guy with no shirt to suck. You already know.
You sure you don't want to move? Sure you don't want to go pick up Tim in Helsinki and then come back to the Bronx?
No, we're good. We're good. But what we were saying though, I'm so sorry. I got this.
We were about on Yusef Lateef. So how long? That was at UMass, right? And how long were you doing stuff with him? What a teacher to have.
Oh man, it was incredible. I did stuff with him from when I got there around '95 until he passed away almost. You know, I feel bad because I don't remember the exact year. I just remember the time of year it was. But it's probably been about 5-6 years now since his passing.
Yeah.
The pandemic also screws up my sense of time too.
Oh sure, everybody's got a bit of brain fog.
Yeah. But nah, he was just a really marvelous teacher. People need to study the way Yusef taught, because that's the way to teach music. You know, openness, bring whatever you want, bring whatever whatever you are, and bring it to the game. You know, there were limits. There were some limits as far as like, you know. I want to say they were limits. It's just you didn't want to do certain things or say certain things around Yusef because he was also like a special person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you didn't want to be like, you know, all cursing and stuff like that around him and stuff like that. But you know, it happened.
did having such a cool, teacher, such a cool mentor make you then want to do what you're doing now, which is on those Mondays going and talking to kids that are 7?
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I also teach improv. I'm teaching improv right now at a high school in Brooklyn a couple days a week through Arts for Art. And I love it. And I bring that Yusef style of teaching to that class for sure. But it's also like, you know, it just sparked me to play all different kind of stuff and not be so judgmental, you know. I feel bad for guys that are like that. I mean, I hate to, you know, they might have more money than me and everything, and it's all good, but you only play one style of music. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy that I play all different kind of stuff and interject myself into anything almost, you know?
Absolutely. So when is this album you're working on coming out? I mean, you're finishing up the compositions or the mixing or what's going on?
No, the mixing's done. I just got to get some stuff over to the label and stuff like that. I don't want to say the label yet, but
all right, okay.
In Europe, I just got to get the stuff over to them. Have a conversation with them. You know, I was on track. Then I did the opera. I did the Met Opera.
Well, why don't you tell us about that? So for those of us that do not know about the Met Opera, please do fill us in.
Well, I was blessed to have the jazz chair for the Met Opera X, Story of Malcolm X.
Oh, amazing.
Written by Anthony Davis. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I had to take it. It's one of the, if not the best, one of the best orchestras in the world. It was definitely one of the top 5 orchestras in the world. And I got to play with those guys. And, you know, it's a different thing from what I usually do.
But you're always doing different things, so.
Exactly, but this one was real different, and it's the Met and it's opera. So, you know.
How many days a week was, how many shows?
There's no budget. I had to really learn this music note by note and stuff like that, and it was serious. So I didn't talk a gig for anybody else from September, late August till December, pretty much.
Right. How many shows a week was that?
It was about a couple shows a week, but it was about a good 2 months of rehearsal.
Yeah. How big was the orchestra?
Orchestra was huge. They had 7 basses, man.
Oh, wow.
They had about 30 singers.
Oh, wow.
It was just an epic operation, man. The whole crew back there, man. I was like, man, this is intense. It was intense, but it was wonderful. The music was really great. Anthony Davis, you know, he wrote this in 1987, I believe, or at least it premiered in 1987 originally. And I believe that was with the New York City Opera, which is now defunct. So it's been around for a while, but you know, it was just a wonderful opportunity, and I got to play with so many great musicians, and I got to play with Jeff Watts and Marty Ehrlich, J.D. Parent, this guy named Isaiah Richardson Jr. Oh my God!
Well, there's already
Safar on trumpet, and I'm forgetting the trombone.
You can't remember everybody. It was a huge undertaking.
Old, man. It's fucked up. I'm getting old, man.
You'll never be as old as me, honey. You'll never be. So just keep it sharp around the edges. That's what I say. Keep it sharp around the edges.
How many bottles I need, Linda? How many bottles I need, Linda? Let me know.
Well, you need one because my name is Lydia, so I might bottle you upside the head next time.
Sorry, Lydia. God damn it. I'm all fucked up.
You know who I am. That's who I am. You thought I was Linda Lovelace for a minute. You're mistaking me with Linda Lovelace.
No, I know Lydia Lunch. No. I just had a brain fart.
Well, I know because you were trying to think of 25 other names.
Yeah, exactly.
No, doesn't. I've been called worse. Trust me.
Yeah, so you know, so I got the opera sort of took me off track, and then I needed some time to recover after that was done. Then it's just like I got swamped with all these fucking gigs. I just been gigging a lot this year.
That's good because we need a lot of catching up after the shutdown for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm trying, but I'm learning. I'm also still learning. I gotta just say, I gotta tame myself a little bit and just take certain gigs, not take all of them.
Yeah.
And focus a little bit more on myself. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I love saying no. It's one of my favorite words. Along with yes, no is one of my favorite words.
Yeah, I hear that. It's an important fucking word, man.
It is. Especially because
if you don't say no, you could die and shit.
I don't even know what to say to that because you're right. What did you do during the pandemic? Were you composing? What were you doing?
During the pandemic, can
you remember that far back?
There's another memory burner. On the first day of the shutdown, I had twins in my apartment. Yep, I had twins. Yep, in my apartment, a boy and a girl in my apartment, St. Patrick's Day, 2020, right? I think it was 2020, 2021. I can't remember no more.
Nobody can.
Yeah, but that year, that's what I did. I had a baby, so it was actually, the pandemic was fucking perfect for me, I have to say.
Good timing.
I didn't have to, it was perfect timing. I didn't have to leave the house. Nobody could bother me. I couldn't bother anybody. A little bit stressful going through a pandemic with infants, but, we just kept them in the house, and everything was cool. And every time I came in from the store, something like that on the bike, I washed my hands and kept my clothes away from folks just in case. And it was great, man. It was
people don't realize, because most people did not have all that attention from a father and a mother from the age of 0 to 4. We didn't have that attention, and that's so important. None of us had it, because dad's off, whatever, trying to support the family. Mom's probably hoping he doesn't come back or whatever. Cooking some.
Listen, stop talking about me, all right?
Cooking some canned beans and meatloaf or whatever. It's like, that's so important. I bet those kids are going to be amazing. So now they're about 4 years old.
They're 4 years old. Yeah, they just turned 4.
Are they sassy? Are they sassing yet?
Oh man, baby girl's a trip, man.
Oh yeah. Can you hear me now?
Oh
yeah. What's up, Tim?
Well, the thing is, this is what's up. Apple makes a shitty product. Google makes a shitty product. It's for dumb people. These fucking machines and these designs are too dumb for me, because you shouldn't have to try with anything. Just be like, I can just do it. And they're so fucking stupid. I'm also in a fucking Finland, which is very beautiful, but socialist maybe in the wrong way. So it's kind of like, okay, we want this shit to work for everyone always, and it's always
well, Tim, you had phone problems for a few days. I was in Austin. Power was out for a lot of people there for a couple of days. Everything's going wackadoodle. I'm just going to say it is Russian interference, or just
it might be
general technological breakdown of nonsense.
And this is why it's so heartbreaking. And Alex, I'm so glad to see you. I've been seeing you for the last fucking half hour, and you can't hear my fucking voice. Yeah, I'm furious.
What a relief.
Well, everyone's relief. I get it.
But no, not at all. I get to take over.
Don't worry, we gave you love, man.
I'm not worried, Alex, about that.
Part 2 of the Lydian Spin, and Tim Dahl has finally come out of the darkness.
All right, well, fine.
Take it over, Tim. We've gone through some good history lessons here.
Well, so right now, so I've known Alex for a long time, and we go way the fuck back. But
we were talking about the Yusef Lateef times, but you can definitely revisit.
Well, no. I mean, Yusef Lateef, and I said this. Both Alex and I were invited on for the Yusef 100-year anniversary. In fact, you're involved with that too, Lydia. I brought you in, but and it was, flattering. I mean, Sonny Rollins was on that shit. I mean, heavyweights.
I mean, yeah, it was incredible. Yeah.
And so the one thing I said about Yusef was, I remember, I was provocative and just being myself, and I remember I presented Yusef, who was pretty real pious, to be honest, and I presented him all these Florida satanic death metal records, and you know what? He came back. His response was a lot of tritones. So which I don't think he liked it. But that was the thing about that motherfucker. He was objective. He was just objective. He just said what's actually the truth, whether it was beyond what.
He was positive. He would be positive. He would find anything positive and say that. He wouldn't stick to the negative.
Well, you've got to check shit out that you don't know anything about, just so you can get a better understanding of what goes beyond your own experience.
And that was his history. I mean, they say he is the godfather of world music. I mean, he was doing. He was going to Nigeria. He was going to places.
I love all that stuff. Yeah,
and he was. I mean, because he was also super into bar talk and all this stuff, and like the idea of field recordings. And he's like, well, no one's done this in Africa from the African American perspective before, and they hadn't. He did.
But you know what's the coolest thing about that?
Yeah.
I think he got put on to that by this guy from Syria that owned a candy store in Detroit.
Oh, cool!
Man, is that fucking cool, man? A guy from Syria in a candy store in Detroit is what got him hip to all these Middle Eastern instruments and stuff.
It's amazing. Have you lived in New York? Have you lived in New York or around New York your whole life? Then?
Yeah, I had the displeasure of living in. I lived in UMass for a little bit when I was a student there, and I lived in Boston for a little bit because I have older kids as well. And I was in a previous family in Boston.
Back to the Bronx.
Yeah, then I came back home. I've been everywhere. I lived in Brooklyn, Queens, everywhere.
So, Alex, let me ask you a harder question, and you can answer or not. as a Panamanian Caribbean African American, talk to me about your experience with Southern Black culture, New York existence, and maybe potential tensions, or just basically your position in this.
Oh man.
I remember like Sean Kelly was saying like they couldn't believe that you would speak Spanish. They actually a lot of Southern Blacks didn't even know you were Spanish. Actually,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's true. People were shocked when I would speak Spanish. You know, they would act like it was like I was a weird thing and stuff like that. Not a weird thing, but it was like it was shocking. But I gotta say, man, you know, everything that I am is due to African American culture, and I do consider myself African American as being born here and being black. You have no fucking choice.
But you are, because America is
Yeah, I
not the
am.
United
Yeah,
States.
'cause I was born here.
America's
Yeah.
North and South America. America's America. It's two continents.
That's right.
And
That's right. So I am African, but my lineage is not through the South. You know, that's the thing.
Right,
My lineage
right,
is not
it.
through the South.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, I knew Menudo before I knew the Jackson 5, which is fucking reprehensible, right? That's like, give me your black car, boy.
When they used to call me Cyndi Lauper in Spanish Harlem, I'd always say, all right, Menudo, all right, yeah. And then also my other favorite was that Baby Got Back. I'd go, yeah, but what you got up front, huh? Oh, yeah. You can't out heckle me. No, ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, Lindsay, I like it.
What are you gonna do with it?
But yeah, it was, you know, I grew up, I learned piano through African Americans for one. I didn't have African American piano teachers per se, but it was an African American institution. And I got put on to jazz at that institution. And a guy that I still work with is J.D. Perrin, woodwinds extraordinaire.
He's a master, yes.
Yeah, he's a master. He played with all different people.
New Orleans. You know, Lydia lived in New Orleans for a second.
I lived there for 2 years. I loved it.
All right. He's not from New Orleans, though.
Why did I think he was from New Orleans?
He's from St. Louis, that's why.
Oh, well.
Yeah, which is right up the
more dangerous. More dangerous.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite cities to play? Or Europe, America, or you just like to play?
Oh, I like playing I do like playing everywhere. My best place that I've played, I like playing in the gritty places. I have to be honest with you. You know, I mean, every place is nice. You know, I played in Sardinia. I played in Italy. I played in Europe, all these nice places or whatever, North Sea Jazz Festival, things like that.
And then you go to Mama Tried. And then you go to Mama Tried and played.
Yeah, but then I go to Mama Tried and I could just let loose. You know, it's just like,
and don't get any grittier, honey. No, that's true grit. True grit with shrimp on the side, but don't eat it there.
But there's some towns that just have that grit, period. And even if you're at the nice place of that town, that has the grit. And I appreciate that. You know, one of those towns, Detroit is definitely one of those places.
Yeah. Naples.
That I love.
Naples.
And I also I gotta say, I love Cleveland, man. Cleveland, Ohio. I've only been there a couple times, man. But I've had good shows in Cleveland.
I like Cleveland. You know, I'm from the Rust Belt, so that's just like those are my neighbors. I'm from upstate New York, Rochester. Right. That's a part of the Rust Belt.
Oh, right. That's yeah, absolutely.
Pittsburgh. I lived in Pittsburgh. I loved it.
I'm gonna be there next week.
How did I know?
I don't know, but I'm playing in Pittsburgh. Actually, this week. I'm talking about next week. I'm playing this week. I'm playing in a couple of days, I believe.
It's beautiful town.
Who are you playing with?
Yeah, you play with it.
That's a project with James Brandon Lewis. I cannot say right now off the top who else is on that project.
Sure.
But it was a pretty good band. I just can't remember right now.
So for the listeners, I came in late, and it's very rude for me to even make this about me in any way. But in this kind of personal, like, you know, Alex, I knew him when we were both kids, right? And so, I'm 2 years older than Alex, but we were both kids, and he did the early family thing in Boston, and that, you know, went its way, and he came back to New York, and so it was me, Simon, and Dave Budden, and we're like, Alex, come and hang out, and and you know, we would have these long sessions outside of playing with Yusef Lateef, outside of playing with like the bigger gigs, just hanging out, when before social media really took over, just playing records and trading
That's
ideas and playing songs and just interacting. And well, Alex, I was
Yeah,
going
it
to
was
say,
great, man. Listen to all.
I still have nostalgia of just this. We have time on our hands. And Dave Budden, was a guest on this. I mean, we're talking about serious music, the dumbest music on the planet. Just
That's right. Everything from A to Z.
Throwing down with everything. And Dave would get excited by just presenting you, Alex, these like contrapuntal harmonic arpeggio ideas, and you just do it, and he's like, "That's fucking great, motherfucker."
He's a genius. You already know. He's a genius, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alex.
By the way, just a sideline. Originally the podcast was going to be me and Dave, from conversations that were overheard of me and Dave on Tim's porch in Bensonhurst. But we knew that Dave couldn't keep it up, and we know that Tim can keep it up all night long. Yeah, and we just shifted that concept. But yeah, I had some great conversations with Dave. Usually about Eminem or the Rolling Stones. It didn't matter because I didn't know what the hell he was talking about musically. I couldn't figure him out, but I was very encouraging to him anyway. And he has a soft spot in my back pocket.
All right,
sure.
Absolutely.
So Alex, what do you think? What do you think of this theory about Harlem Renaissance? You have George Clinton in Newark, and you got this river between it, and this whole thing in Harlem Renaissance that, like, that's some old slave shit, and we're beyond that. We're bigger than this, and that there wouldn't be a Tony Williams because that southern line is kind of severed at that river a little bit in its own way, for better or for worse, and that would there be a Tony Williams if it wasn't for Harlem Renaissance and that severing? Because you go right across the river, you have Cissy Houston, which is Whitney Houston's mother, who is considered the queen of Northeast gospel, and it's just 2 miles away, and that's just a different. World.
that wasn't beknownst to me, honestly, because I growing up in New York, that's all I knew, and I didn't really go to Jersey,
Right.
Well, you grew up in the city, you do not go to Jersey for anything. You just don't.
I think I went once to do a dirty dance, and somebody walked in and saw me. I never went back. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. My days of dancing, at least, are done. At least half naked. Only reason to go to Jersey is steal some money.
No, but
listen. We got to go back to UMass on this one.
Sure.
Because who put it to me best was Dr. Clarence Boyer.
I forgot about him. Yeah. He's a scholar.
Yeah, Dr. Clarence Boyer was African American from Florida.
He was in the Kennedy Center. He was Kennedy Center awarded. He's a player with his history. Yes,
that's right. And so he would say real gospel stops in New Jersey on the East Coast.
Yeah, he would. That's where I heard it.
That's what he used to say.
And
I used to be like, damn, that's mean. But as I got older and came back to New York and playing as a musician and dealt with some folks from New Jersey, and been to New Jersey more, I understand what he was talking about. New York City had those neighborhoods, but I do believe that because of the freedom that blacks experienced more in New York than in other places, there was just it was a less country vibe in New York, even though the country was here too. So like when I grew up in the Bronx and Queens. When I moved to Queens, South Jamaica was all black African American neighborhoods. It was all guys from like Alabama, Virginia, North Carolina. And I would say, like, even to this day, I call South Jamaica the countryside of New York City. Because it's just a different tempo out there. And it feels like it's just different. It's like a no-frills town in neighborhood, but it's in the city limits,
Well, also because of the subway access creates an isolation.
It's just out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. The lack of
isolated,
subway
it's out there. Yes. Totally. Yeah, and it was African American. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of, because of that, Jamaica Queens has a funk history, right? It's
huge. I mean, basically the '80s wave of top session black American like pros, because a lot of them went to LaGuardia High School. The Marcus
That's
Millers,
right.
the Omar Hakims, all these guys were all from fucking Jamaica, Queens.
That's right.
It's insane.
Yeah, it was, and it was like I was happy to move. Actually, it was a blessing that I moved there, because of that. Kids my age were still playing music over there. You know,
Right,
so like,
right.
which in the Bronx, I didn't have that shit. I was the only kid always playing music. You know, but when I moved to Queens, there was other kids playing music, and they would play good too. There was no joke. There was great musicians out there.
Yep.
I didn't get that in the PX, so yeah.
I think the only time I went to Jamaica, Queens was I had a layover at Kennedy going somewhere to Europe for a couple of hours. And my friend and I was Thanksgiving. And we went out to a Jamaican soul food place to have some barbecued turkey wing or something. And that's the only time I went.
You probably went to, it sounds like you went to the Rockaway Fish House.
Could have been. I don't remember, but that's my only memory.
It was to the Rockaway Fish House, which was a great place.
No. Alex, you took me to Rockaway Fish House.
I took you to Rockaway Fish House.
No, you took me, and I was like boogie boarding and serving, and the sunburn just looked like a white.
Oh yeah, beach day, yeah.
Because you brought me there, and Dominic and I were the only whites there, and we have nappy hair, and they thought we were crackheads.
Nice.
That's a hot ass corner too. That's a hot block. You know what I'm saying? That's where people go to get stuff.
Big time. Because it was basically all the other crackheads were coming up. Those were the only whites there, like a total train wreck, sunburned mess.
Absolutely.
Like, where's the
I believe
party?
that 200%. Yo.
Where's the party is what they're asking about.
Yeah, man. That's
well, that was proof that I was in the right spot, basically.
That's right.
And I will say, Rockaway Fish House, you order one meal, you get fucking 3 meals.
Yeah.
That's right. It was a lot of food. That's right. It's still like that, man. I haven't been there in a while, but it's still there. It's still there. Yeah, man. Good old Jamaica. I love Jamaica, man.
I mean,
I wouldn't live there. I wouldn't live there now. Now it's still a great place. It's just commuting from Queens is a nightmare.
Yeah, but you live in the top of the Bronx. It's kind of a nightmare.
Nah, man. I'm on the west side. I'm on the west side highway. I get downtown in 20 minutes, man. It's like nothing.
Also, your parents are retired. They're living upstate, and you have access to that.
That's correct. Nice. Yeah. I get to go upstate. I got a lot of New England connections too. So I go up there that way a lot.
By the way, Lydia. Because Alex was a man of many skills, and he actually, I think he has a license to do like commercial, like larger vehicle bus shit. Alex is actually a road logistics master. I mean, I never told him this. No, he actually understands. He was always obsessed with maps.
That's why he's still in his car.
I'm a cartologist.
Yeah.
On the down low. Not no more. It's exposed. My cartography skills are exposed, baby. Anybody that knows me knows that about me. My friends growing up call me the human map.
Nice.
I could get them anywhere in the city without a map. They'd be like, "We're going to Flatbush. How we get there?" I'd be like, "Blah blah blah blah." I already knew. You know,
human GPS. Human GPS.
Yeah, that was me.
Professional road dogs.
But would you say that some of your natural skills have been eroded through the automation of these machines, or would you say you're just as sharp as you always have been with that shit?
I'm still in New York. I'm still pretty sharp with all that shit. Yeah, you know, I use Google for traffic.
That's it.
Because sometimes their routes tell you, you know, like, oh, they're not sending you that way because there must be traffic that way. But sometimes their routes are stupid too. You know, so sometimes I modify on the fly. You know, when I see that shit.
So Alex, I go, this is the biggest flaw with Google Maps. They don't racial profile. So if you bring in racial profiling with Google Maps, like it's like, okay, it's the Sabbath in the fucking Jewish neighborhoods. Then you can go. No, you go through it at that point.
Oh yeah. Watch out for Caribbean madness.
Okay, yeah, because fucking New York is so diverse, and there's different
holidays
and different days where shit's going on, and that's
inside
inside information. That's just inside information.
Now you can't get that on a map, dog. A map got to be universal, man.
Yeah,
That's out,
exactly.
man.
I still think this. I remember one night when we're all having a good time,
Uh-huh.
and we're listening to the Herbert Hank, the German concert pianist interpretation.
I was at a
Charles.
place with Ardbeg recently, by the way, though.
Well, I'm glad he was there with you too. That's just rough. I love it, but we were talking about the Charles Ives piano pieces, and Dave Budden was like,
I remember that.
he's like, Alex, if you play these fucking things, like you're in the history books. I mean, because basically, oh God, now my brain's dumb.
Everybody's doing it.
Anthony Braxton. Anthony Braxton. I mean, Ives is one of his heroes, and
Ives stuff is incredible.
And I just think with your piano skill, and of course, as Beethoven said, never take advice. But I would say if you played those,
you know what it is? I would have to I have to stop everything I'm doing for like 2 years to learn that shit.
I know.
That's the fucking problem.
I know.
And I keep making kids, man. It's the other fucking problem. So,
you better get some instruments in those 4-year-olds' hands.
Hopefully, maybe like 10, 15 years down the line, if I'm still alive, I could get the space to learn the Charles Ives piano pieces. Absolutely.
You don't have to. You don't have to take advice. You don't have to.
It's a good advice. I like it, man. It's good. I'm honored that you think I could play that shit. Yeah, I would love to.
You keep having kids, you'll have your own orchestra by then.
Are any of your kids in music?
Not yet.
Well, 2 of them are only 4.
Yeah, and but the little girl she's a musician like naturally. The twins are. The twins can sing. They tap on rhythm. They move. They know time. They're pretty on point. I'm sorry. And baby girl is just like, I can already see it already, man. She's gonna be all about, she's all about singing and being on stage and having the spotlight on her, and she's all about that shit.
Alex, I'm rolling in real time here, and I'll say this. And take the compliment. You're just so much at ease with just everything that comes your way, and I actually appreciate that as a friend. And so it's actually impressive to even know you this long and see how you actually manage everything. It's actually something to be honored.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. You have witnessed all stages, yeah.
And you should be honored. You should be honored. I mean,
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You're open. You're creative. You're curious. You're critical. You're fun. You're mean. You're all that stuff.
And let's not forget a good dose of weird in there too, which matters to me.
Absolutely. Hey, talk about weird. I think it was the same day. You sent me that picture of me with a cigarette at the gas station.
I forget, probably.
That was ridiculous. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I had chancletas on. I'm pumping gas, and I got a cigarette in my mouth.
Well, Alex, that's the point. You're one of the few in my inner circle that I can send a weird picture to and a weird scenario to, and you're not like, hey, what's this? What's going on? Like you actually can roll with what's really going on.
Yeah, shit was funny. I can see that shit's hilarious. Why would I laugh? It's just silly. I'm not doing that shit no more.
So I mean, Lydia, Alex originally went into the arts via painting, right? Before you got into music.
I went to school in Rockaway because they had a visual arts program, and I was more into visual arts than I was into music. And that
started at what age? You're playing the piano really young. When did you start painting? When you were 5? I mean,
probably sometime after like around 10, 11, or maybe something like that. I was at this art school, so they had all the different disciplines.
Right.
So I was sort of doing both of them. And yeah, but when music took over, I haven't gotten back to visual arts, but it's something I regret and I plan to change.
Nice.
Yeah, I do want to get back into painting for sure.
I was gone the first half hour because I fucking couldn't get my shit going. But any R.G. Shep stories you want to share?
Nah, I don't have no Archie Chef story.
Oh, yes,
Outside,
you do. Yes, you do. But okay.
I don't remember. I honestly do not remember.
Ah, nice. And
I don't remember. I remember. I remember that class.
No, but by the time you had we're kind of like graduating. By the time you were graduating, I mean, you were kind of hanging with RG, right? I mean, I had played with him.
I remember going to his house a few times. That's right. I remember going to RG's house a few times.
Did you never play with him professionally?
I don't think so.
Okay, I did.
No, I never got to play with him.
I'm a bass player, so all right, okay.
Yeah, I never got to play with him. But I remember going to his house a few times when I was living there, especially in the summertime. But it wasn't that many. He wasn't around that much. You know, I just remember that class with Will Letman, you know?
I do know. He brought me into that class because Archie Shep was not a music department professor. He was an African American studies professor.
That's right.
And so he was doing a class about African American music, but not for music majors, just for like people. But because it's African American studies, it was like a lecture hall of 250 people, and 220 were black. So I remember I was up on stage, and I have my upright bass, and we play these standards, and he goes to the crowd. He goes, "What was that?" Of course, it's fucking Tumbleweed Tuesdays, and so everyone's silent. And then he turns to me. He's like, "Tim, what is it?" I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was some standard at the time. I knew what it was, and I said, "This is what it is." And then Archie's like, "See, they know more about you than you know about you."
Oh, shit.
Damn Skippy, man. That sounds correct.
So then I was like, "Oh no, I'm up here right now. Like all eyes on me." It was so insane. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing this to me, man?" But it was fine.
That shit is funny, bro.
Oh, it was. Because actually, Archie and I got along famously. So
I know he did. And I know y'all got along great. Yeah, he's good people. Yeah. Y'all, no doubt about it. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Wasn't a problem. Going back to Horace Blair, who's, you know, he was a Kennedy's honor. He is basically the gospel authority for the Library of Congress. And both Horace Blair and Archie Shep are from Florida, by the way. Ha 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 ha.
Horace Blair and who else?
And Archie were both born in Florida.
Oh, I didn't know Archie was from Florida.
They're both born in Florida. Oh, and by the way, Archie Shep's first instrument was a banjo. I mean, talk about old school.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
We have more crazy stories on our intros about Florida than any other state in the damn union. I mean, because it is one of the weirdest places. Well, every state is weird in this country. Let's just admit fact. It's all weird.
Although I'm going to digress because Horace Boyer, rest in peace. He's a brilliant guy, heavy partier. Latanya Bugs saw him at the CVS in Amherst buying condoms. I don't think that was for girls.
Man, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that, man. I'm going to do a U-turn. I'm going to back up, man.
I love him.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Dr. Boyer was, Dr. Boyer at one point when I was living there, he had gout. And he actually hired me to drive him to a couple gigs because because he couldn't drive and stuff like that. He told me to come and give me some money and shit like that. He's a character, man. That's all I can say. He's a character.
He's a high intellect, one of the greatest archivists in gospel history, maybe the greatest.
That's right.
And but he also had his other things. He rolled tight with Bill Cosby. He was just. And he also came from the ground up. Let's be honest. I mean, this motherfucker came from nothing, and it was a high intellect and was juggling a lot of cars. I remember he loaned me his Mercedes once because I had to play a gospel. I had to play a gospel gig in fucking Springfield, and I remember I was high as a kite, and he calls me up and he goes, Tim, do you have a car? I was like, we're not right now. He goes, well, you have a license? And I'm like, I do. Well, how about I drive the Chevy and you drive the Mercedes?
Woo, let the good times roll.
Oh, and last thing, I love Horace Barter to death. I remember one time I saw him parking and I see his eyes shifting around, thinks no one's fucking looking. I see him, and he takes out a giant bottle of brandy under the seat and swigs that thing. And I was like, I like this guy more and more every single fucking day. I just do. He's just cooler as shit.
Cool, man.
And he knew a lot about Larry Graham. Yeah, exactly.
We're coming.
But you know, that's a cool thing, right, Tim? Like, you know, we were at school too, right? And the schools make all these music greats seem like they're like saints and shit like that. You know, it's nice to see the realness, man. I really appreciate it. And the older I get, the more and more I appreciate it too. I got to be honest with you.
Me too. And this is where the three of us connect. We're not into neo-purity. We're not into like, we actually are okay with reality. And that people want these pure narratives about the world's existence, and that's just not honest. And there's a lot of contradictions, and there's a lot of.
Excuse me, I'm a contrarian, honey, from the word go. You know it.
No,
and that's the way. That means you're all over the place, because there is no set form of a reality unless somebody wants to impose theirs on yours. Open your mind, and your ass will follow, and then Cecil Taylor will come in.
Amen.
This is the Lydian spin. I think we're at the end of our time here. This is the Lydian spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and Alexi Marcelo.
It's my first podcast. I hope I was all right, man.
You were great.
I'm sorry I failed. I'm in Finland, and everything's wrong.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Man.
You got in hard, and you got in good. So as long as we're all in it together, it's a daisy chain for Satanica. Great to meet you again, Lexi. Tim, I'll see you very soon on another podcast.
I love you both. Okay, thank you.
All right, love. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.
Much love.